Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I'm excited here today to interview yet another wonderful entrepreneur. And we're going to talk all about her journey, her story, and get to know a little bit more about her journey into the Reiki and yoga. I'm Arti Solanki, your host. I help people achieve their business goals as a business coach and consultant. My website is artisolanki.com. One of the things I love most is empowering women. Through my channel, I share inspiring stories of women from different industries. Each interview is a chance to explore their unique experiences and success. Um, to start out, I really welcome you, Sophia, and I appreciate your time and an opportunity for our viewers and to me to learn a little bit more about you and your journey. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself, your personal life, your whatever
Yeah,
you would like to share.
yeah. Well, I will share. So I got into the healing world pretty late in life. I wasn't one of these people who grew up in it. It just kind of was something I stumbled into, but I was always into nature. From a
Mm,
young kid, I was always found in the woods. And then something that I noticed about myself from a very early age was my desire to heal. I would find little, flowers that were trampled on and I would pick them up and, try to make them better. And I would do the
oh,
same with animals. And it was quickly became, a thing with me that I knew about myself that more than anything, I wish that I could just help things heal. And I
right,
didn't know how to really put that into words as a child, right? Like,
right.
and I grew up in the 80s, so there weren't there
Yeah.
wasn't vocabulary for these kinds of things, right? So at least not accessible to me. And I grew up in New York, in Long Island in the 80s, so things for I would say even like people of color weren't accessible, right? Like they didn't teach you
Right,
about those things. So you kind of had to follow it and find it on your own.
right.
And so that's what I did. I actually went through psychology because I figured, okay, I want to help people.
Mm,
I want to help people heal. And so for me, I knew that I wanted it to be something that was like from within.
right.
And psychology was the one thing that I was accessible to me. It
Mhm,
was like mainstream enough that in school, there were classes. I was like, okay, this seems like breadcrumb trail. I'm
mhm.
not finding everything that I want to do, but okay, this seems like at least enough.
Enough, right, right.
Enough, yeah. And then I was greatly shaped I had a mentor in high school, and she knew that I was into the environment, and she had an environmental club. And one day I just started asking her about her life. And I mean, I grew up, we migrated over here from Trinidad and Tobago. I ate a very traditional diet, very healthy,
Yeah,
back home diet, but still like lots of meat, lots of dairy, lots of those kinds of things.
right.
Um, and she didn't. And this was the first time someone had come into my world that was vegetarian, was vegan, and I had never heard of these things. I had
Right,
never, like, what is that? Why would you do that? Right.
right.
So she started telling me about it, and I was 17 years old and about to graduate high school. And I was like, okay, lady, whatever. But then she busted my world wide open, and she handed me one day, like, a little pamphlet. And at that point, did not realize within myself that I am an empath, right? No idea, had no clue. I didn't know those words. So when you show an empath something like images
Hmm.
of animals in slaughterhouses, and that's not, like it wasn't on the
Yeah,
front page. It was like nice animals on the front page. So I started opening it and reading about factory farming for the first time and about the environment and the link between our health. And I I think that was the first stage of my own healing within a soul as a being on this planet. That was like the first time that I consciously stepped into what we call like our soul self
Mm-hmm.
and said, and I felt my heart again, right? And
Yeah.
I came, it was like a awakening and an activation
Mm.
into my heart and into my sense of compassion. And up until that point, I was like maybe, baby steps with my compassion, like, oh
Right.
yeah, like I like animals. And yet, but that was something where I saw my siblings, I saw my mom, I saw my dad, like I saw in their eyes, like my family. So I didn't really, there was no separation for me instantly. And I, in that moment, defined myself as a being of compassion and a soul that's here to help stop suffering and
Right.
to be an embodiment for just something else,
Right.
right?
Kind of
Peace,
like a true
compassion.
calling for you.
It was such a calling in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say your family support is everything. I mean, I was 17 years old, still living at home, about to go off to college. I was going to stay at home for college, but, about to go into that college mindset of
Yeah.
I could do what I want, I could eat what I want. Um, the reality was I didn't know what to eat. I didn't know where to start, but I had the parental support. I had the family support. They knew that um, spiritually, there was something that they wanted to do themselves,
Mhm.
follow more of like a vegetarian spiritual path.
Yeah.
Um, but they couldn't.
And and at that time, there was not a lot of
Right.
vegetarian options out there.
This was
Like,
back in 2003. No.
yeah, the max you could get, it's a cheese pizza or a salad. And even in
Oh, Archie.
salad, I know that
Mm,
there's like
I
bacon
know.
bits in the salads too. So I absolutely know what you're talking about.
I still have nightmares. No offense to, I won't name their brand, okay, but they know who they are. The one brand of soy milk that was available in the early 2000s in every grocery store, it tasted like chalk. I still have PTSD from that. Like,
Oh,
that was our option. That and Boca Burgers. Like, oh, okay. So I digress. But that really started my healing journey into this is who I want to be. This is how I want to show up. And it wasn't something that I did in a smart way, in a healthy way, in a way that was like, oh, okay, let me check my nutrients and my B12 and all those things.
right.
So, of course, I stumbled and lost a lot of weight and my family got concerned and all of these things.
Right.
But for me, um, it was just so important to become an adult in my mind in the way that I wanted to and show up. And that was my first experience in how important it is to show up authentically,
Yeah.
right? Like it didn't matter to me, like I had lost weight. It didn't matter to me that, you know, I mean, I saw health improvements. I saw my hair getting longer. I saw my nails getting stronger, but, just leaning out, right? Like
Right.
dropping. And I noticed like a lot of spiritual things, like soul things would just start healing.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
really started telling me something. Okay, my vibration's changing. Like something's happening within.
Yeah.
And they say like the more as you start to detox, you get that clarity. You get that
Mhm.
propels you on the path. So that's what was happening. And through college, I just started realizing, okay, psychology might not be for me because they are doing a lot of animal testing, and that is ethically, I can't, I can't. That
Yeah. It was not your thing.
It
Yeah.
was my thing, and then just how people were treated in the tests as well, ethically. Like for me, I'm like, this is not what I can see myself doing. So I started having a little bit of a dilemma in college, like where, as most of us have, like throughout life.
Yeah.
I know it's happened several times since then, but um, I was in my last semester of my last year, and I still hadn't picked a grad school. I still hadn't had a plan. And the universe took over. And I was just trying to meet up with a friend in Florida, here where I live now. And they told me about a workshop a humane education workshop. And I was like, humane education, what is that? I don't know what that is. So I went, and I'll never forget the girl who led it didn't look much older than me, and I think she was like 25. But she, again, changed my life. So, these key players, right?
Players. Yep.
The workshop that she led made us feel the true power of education. It was about how do we learn through experiencing things? How do we teach others through creating realistic experiences and mock, modules and just interactions with each other. And at the end of that, I was like, sign me up for this. Like, you are teaching people how to lead others in heart opening
Right.
and engaging in their sense of compassion, but also helping them find and empowering themselves to think about what passions they have, what talents, skills, and unique qualities do they bring here as a soul, as a life,
Mm-hmm.
and how do we then educate ourselves about what is going on in the world, not just math, science, geography, and all that stuff that we learn in school. No, but real like social justice issues. What is happening to the planet? What is happening to animals, right? Why did I have to be 17 just so happening to learn about that? Why wasn't factory farming taught to me? Right?
Right.
Like, that's a food system, right? Like,
Yeah.
why did I have to learn about it on my own?
Yeah,
Right? And now,
and at that point, we didn't
at that
have
point, right.
we didn't have internet to have all these informations and all this stuff
Absolutely.
back then. Uh, not to interrupt your story, but
No, please.
um, I was vegetarian for 4 years, long time back.
Mhm.
And just like what you said, you were going through the books and feeling that.
Yeah.
My funny story is that I watched the movie, the cartoon movie, Chicken Run. And that kind
Yep.
of it hit me so hard that
Oh,
forget
yeah.
about even the looking at like real disgusting
Yeah.
pictures, just watching that movie, how
Yeah.
the chicken felt and escaping. Girl, I kid you not, I did not touch meat for 4 years, but just
Yeah.
like you said,
Yeah.
I shed a lot of weight and I had my B12 dropped. I had my
Mhm.
vitamin D drop. I was taking shots and I was going
Mhm.
through a lot of problems with my health after stopping because I've
Yeah.
been non-vegetarian all my life. And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden I was a vegetarian and then it affected me. And so
Yeah.
after a long struggle, I actually went back on eating. So I still eat meat but it's not my favorite thing to do, but I still eat. But that's it's a lot of times when I tell people that what made me stop is the movie Chicken Run. It's kind of funny.
It's funny. It's cute. It's very cute, but it lends to, your compassion, right? That
Yeah.
it just takes like feeling how an animal felt to
Yes.
understand,
Yes, absolutely.
But just what you said there, and I'm so glad that you interrupted me because yes, I don't want it to seem like this was easy in any way to
Mhm.
maintain a vegan lifestyle, a compassionate vegan lifestyle, especially in terms of today. If I told you in 2003, oh, I'm vegan, you would have probably been like, oh, okay, what is that? But
Yeah.
now, if I tell you, oh, I'm vegan, you already have like preconceived notions of other people and protesters and activists, and
Mm,
so
yeah.
there's a lot more judgment and things that I have to experience just to show up authentically as myself. And I'm okay with that because for me, I know it comes from a ahimsa, it comes from a compassion, it comes from a oneness that I lead with that.
And now
And
there's a lot
just
of education for it too. Like
absolutely,
there's so many
absolutely,
places you can find all this information.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's I think more you find a more of a vegan groups in Europe. That's what I've found
Okay.
that they're
Yeah.
becoming more and more educated about it and they're becoming more vegan than than in US, but I might be wrong. I don't know the statistics clearly, but that's what I've heard, that they're more advanced and they have
Yeah,
more options. So there's
right.
very much, if you go out to the restaurants in Europe, it's available. Like if
Yeah.
you need the options to eat out, they have the vegan options there. Here we have a little bit of a problem of getting, it's there, but it's not
Yeah.
like really freely available at every block and corner of the place you want. So
Right.
I guess it just depends. But I've seen a lot of places in California for sure.
Cool.
Austin has a lot of places where they
Yeah.
have a lot of vegan restaurants, but I'm sure Florida has it too.
Yeah, I'm in Orlando, so we have a lot popping up. We lose some, we gain some, so it pretty much balances out, I
Balances
think.
out.
But I think for me, like just what you said there, and I wanted to go back to that because that is a real, my clients, that is part of why I wanted to start showing up in the way
Mhm.
that I do because I'm a real human being. I know the struggles. I know it's not easy to like I am not going to sit here and say like, oh yeah, this journey has been easy. And I personally, um, I practice, a clean diet and a whole foods diet. You know, but I know that sometimes I can make it look easy. And that I decided to lean into it, right? And try to make it accessible for my clients. So for me, it's not about perfection. It's about how do we, and that's what I wanted to go into that grad school program to learn, how do I help people align with their values,
Mhm.
right? How do our actions and our lifestyle, right? We have this value system, and guilt and shame should not be
It should
something that we
not.
process every day just to live,
No,
right? We
no.
should eat what we feel is in line with our bodies because that's how we honor every system of ourselves, like mind, body, soul. If we're eating, if we're in alignment with every single thing that we do, with how we feel and like on a soul level, what we want to do, how we want to show up,
Yeah.
that is more important than how you define yourself. It's more important than the overall, oh man, did I slip today? Did I do? So I work with people on how do we get you to feel a sense of alignment with your values, right? In a accessible way every single day. And it's over time, you do it month by month or 3 weeks at a time. And they say your taste buds take 3 weeks to change anyway. So
Yes.
you take it 3 weeks at a time and you work on things like, okay, well, for this 3 weeks, I'm going to focus on like eliminating dairy. Awesome. Because that clouds your judgment, clouds your brain, clouds everything, your third eye, your pineal glands, everything. So once you get that out of your system, you could say, oh, I actually have this feels great. I feel better. And then you go from there and you do those incremental
Yeah.
changes. But for me, I mean, I went cold
Drastic.
turkey vegan, right? As they say.
You
And
went all in, jumped all
yeah,
in.
I did. I did. But I had the family support, thank God. My mom was cooking for me. My dad was bringing things over for me. Um, they were very involved in that process. And
Yeah.
and through college, I went to an honors college. I would not have survived that if I didn't have my mom's cooking. And
Cooking.
there were slip ups in the beginning.
Yeah.
I would find little pieces of meat, from like she would forget to swap this like to use clean spoons, but I say now, 21 years later, they will go May 1st. We go out to a restaurant to celebrate my vegan anniversary.
Oh,
They know it's
wow.
a thing. They know it's as important to me as my birthday. Like that is, and not to focus too much on that, but it was really the foundation of me as a soul showing up in this world, like
Yeah.
compassion and living from a place of peace is the first thing, right? Like
Yeah.
having that heart lightness, having that vibration that sustains you to hold space for
Yeah.
just for yourself, for your own healing, and
Yeah.
then for others.
And
So
others.
it
So
helped me.
that's kind of like, this shows like your like you said, the own vibrations, because Reiki and yoga is all about that.
It was
and
all
and
about it.
and and you practicing as a Reiki and a yoga instructor,
Mhm.
um, your own purity, your own vibration, your soul, and the peacefulness is so much important to, I guess, I'm not too knowledgeable about Reiki, but you can tell
Yeah,
us more about it. But
absolutely.
as far as my understanding is that those vibrations, you are pretty much transferring it to
Yes.
heal somebody.
Yes.
So I can just having this much of conversation, and I can tell you like, oh my God, I can't wait to actually meet you and hug you and see the,
Likewise, likewise.
the vibration, because
Yeah,
it always inspires me
yeah.
when I meet somebody who is like very spiritually awakened. Um, it is one of the things that I absolutely love. And like I said, I started the journey, but then I stumbled, and I'm like not there.
We all do, and that's okay. And and that is so human and that is so beautiful. And just having that experience of
Yeah,
being real, being authentic. I think there's nothing more important than showing up for yourself in a authentic way and saying these are my shortcomings and this is how I'm here to work on myself. That's
absolutely.
why I wanted to become not just so I graduated and I was like, okay, well, now I'm a master of education and humane education, and now I have this psych degree. And I started teaching, and I'm like,
You're still missing
I still
something.
missing something. What is it?
Yes.
So then I just started working on myself.
Yeah.
Um, and I realized there were parts of myself that were not accessed, like
Mhm.
with like my soul
Mhm.
in the journey of discovering who I am. I started working with different energy healers. I was always into getting readings, something that like I was always like, oh, show me that side of myself, show me this. And I just so happened to go into a reading, and it was a friend of mine from the community, and she actually in the reading said to me, Sophia, why are you not doing this work?
Mm.
Your soul is a healer, and you need to step into that.
Right.
And I was like, you talking to me? Like, and I was like, are you just telling me what I want to hear? But
Yeah.
it wasn't something my ears received. It was something fully the words, like, I don't know how else to describe it, but that was the first time that I had experienced something that I do for others now. But when someone like a soul healer sees you as your true self,
Mhm.
right? Not your body, not your container, but your true soul self. And they acknowledge you for who you are and what you are as a vibration.
Mhm.
It does something to you, especially if it's your first time. It bursts that like a blooming flower.
Mhm.
And it's like, I've been seen.
Right.
I'm here. It's a blossoming of your soul that
Yeah.
just you can try to dim yourself. You're going to feel it though. Right.
Yeah.
And I've done that. And people have tried to dim me back. And I've let them. But it's about that soul awakening. And once I experienced it, and she decided to become my mentor and help me step into that next level for myself. And for the next several weeks, we would work on each other. I didn't realize, and so it was great to have that guidance. She's like, you don't really need formal training. Like, this is what you've been doing for lifetime. So you just need to remember. You just need to go within yourself, do
Yeah.
it for yourself, and reactivate your soul knowledge, reactivate from within who you are as a soul being. It's like, what are you talking about? All right, fine. So I'd meditated before, but more in the like pranayama sense, more in the yoga sense, right? I grew up
Right.
doing yoga with my dad. Just thinking like as a kid, like, oh, these are some funny poses with this like Indian man in the book in like funny underwear. Like, this is how I bond with my dad, right? Like, I didn't know we were healing, like
Mm,
I didn't know what
right.
we were doing. And so yoga had always been like this thing that was about myself. I didn't understand how yoga could help others heal at that point.
Right.
So I
Right.
go on this journey with her and I start uncovering who I am. And it was like every day I would look in the mirror and see more and more of who my true power, my true soul essence
Mhm.
blossoming out. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you like, oh yeah, it was all sunshine and roses. There was deep trauma. There was childhood trauma.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and unpack all that for y'all, but everyone I think um, has stuff in their past
Yeah.
that wraps us up in shame, regret, um, you name it. But those kind
You need to
anger,
just break free of those
right?
feelings and
Yeah,
emotions and break free. It's like you don't want to carry those weight
right,
with you
right.
and you just want to let go of it.
Yeah.
And I do meditate as well,
Mhm.
not as much as I want to, but I try.
None of us do.
And I love that because, like you said, the feeling um, of carrying that weight is more difficult than just letting it go. And meditation is one of the
Yeah,
things that help us. If I can't meditate in the morning before I go to bed, I'm just lying straight flat in the bed and I meditate for whatever time I have and then go to bed. But it's the most peaceful and the best feeling I would say it
yeah,
brings. It actually recharges your
yeah,
brain and your body.
absolutely.
And a lot of time people say that, oh, you have to be in certain position and you have to do this, you count your breath. And there's so many other ways people teach. And but this is the simplest way that I do it. And I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong, but it's working for me. And so that's how I stay put on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
But
there's
you
so
being
yeah,
the
absolutely.
instructor, you can probably give us a little tip of what kind of yoga and how you
Yeah,
actually practice. You can probably give us a few tips on it.
yeah. I will say my secret is nature. Um, Plants, my house is surrounded in plants. I think they lend us so much. And that they just remind us. You see a flower, bloom in the morning and you're like, oh yeah, that reminds me of stretch,
Yeah.
right? Like they just set the vibration. And so the first thing that I do when I know I need to really do some yoga is I love to go into nature. But if I can't, I at least put on something like I will do a combination. Like sometimes I like videos,
Hmm.
of someone that I trust and they're going to take you on a journey and I'll
Hmm.
sit there with a video. And then there are times when I know I don't want technology. I just need a digital detox,
Yeah,
right? As an empath, as a soul, like you just need that like unplug time. And
absolutely.
that's when I really love to teach people how to go into the soul self. And I mean, you could set candles up, you could turn off all the lights, be by yourself and flow with your soul.
Hmm.
And I mean, you really just have to trust the process because you have to trust that everything that you know up until now, like in all of your classes, whether you're a rock climber or a runner,
Hmm.
you know how to work your body. You know what feels right. You know what feels wrong,
Hmm.
right? You know what you can do if you've never done, like, let's say the wheel, right? Like, don't do it, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like, don't push yourself in those moments beyond what you know you can do. But I have found that so secret about me, which a lot of my friends know, and they're like, they roll their eyes. But I am a yoga and I got my yoga certification because I don't like yoga classes. And no offense to any yoga instructors. I'm so sorry if I'm offending you. But as an empath, as a soul healer, when I step into a room with other people, I can't shut it off. I can't Yes, I have to have permission to see deep things, but I don't have to have permission to care and to feel
Yeah.
everybody's stuff. And when we're in the poses and they're releasing all their stuff, I see all that and then I'm like, "Stop, don't come on me. Don't, you know."
Yeah.
And it's work and it's constant work that I have to like put boundaries and put for those things not to just kind of flow into me.
Right. Right.
So I love outdoor yoga spaces. I love, so I started getting more into that. But the point is, you have to find the yoga flow that comes from within.
Mm.
And that was where it started for me in my room by myself with candles. I did a lot at night. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I'm a up at 4 a.m. kind of gal. No, I'm going to bed usually at 4 a.m. Like I am a night owl and midnight, something about that midnight hour, I would just receive all of these things and my yoga flow would hit me and my Reiki care would hit me and I would start hearing my ancestors and start hearing my guides and I'm all right. So
Yeah.
trusting your guidance, trusting what comes for you.
Hmm.
As long as you set those boundaries of, I'm only going to work with unconditional love and the highest vibration of love and light, right? You
Hmm.
want to protect yourself. But it was a whole spiritual process that really happens by yourself, with yourself, where it's like the emergence of your soul. Like your soul is always wanting to take the lead in your life, and your
Right.
body and your mind is here like, I run the show. I'm smart. I have all these certifications. No. And the soul's like, yeah, well, I've been around since the dawn of time. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. And so the soul is always kind of whispering and like sitting in the back, like, all right, well, when you want me to take over, you just let me know. I'm gonna let you do your thing because you
Yeah.
seem to know where you're going.
Yeah. So,
Right.
tell me, how do you
Yes.
incorporate Reiki and yoga and like kind of combine or not combine to
Mm,
benefit your clients? How do you incorporate those two for your clients?
yes.
I'm kind of like interested in knowing that. How do you do
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. So I used to do a lot of my sessions in person,
Hmm.
and I realized there's benefits to that, but I also wanted to focus on reaching a global market in this coming years. So I started transitioning into doing all of my sessions virtually. And of course, you can imagine there are challenges with trying to teach Reiki or yoga in that capacity, in that, in the module of like virtual, right?
Right.
So I hadn't actually gotten my official certifications in these things, but I knew I could teach it. I knew I could do it. So what I did is I went and I found online modules, teachers, and I went through those programs. So I found this wonderful, it's called Bodsphere. They are an Indian couple who live in India. They make yoga teacher training completely accessible. I love them so much.
Right.
And the way that they taught yoga showed me, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting everything, like I'm learning everything and it's on my time. So
Right.
they really started showing me the power of virtual settings, the power of sitting with a camera and connecting with someone just like this,
Hmm.
um, and instructing them, and that you don't have to touch people, you don't have to be there um, in person directing them, that you can use your words and show them, and really it becomes more of a autonomous process for the
Right.
person. So
Right.
what I'll do and I did the same thing for my Reiki. I went and I found someone who works online and I did the modules, I did everything so that I could see, like, will I feel this? Because if I don't feel it, I'm like the word stickler for things. I'm like, I didn't feel that, So
Yeah.
I knew I could tell. And when she scheduled me and she's like, and I've never met this lady. So I was like, how's this gonna when she said, okay, go and rest at this time, and I'm going to then do this work remotely, and I'm going to send you this energy, and I'm going to put these symbols on you and activate you. I'm sitting there watching my cat, and I'm like, we about to get activated. Uh-huh. I'm so skeptical, right? And I'm like, okay. But I felt everything.
Right.
I felt like this lady was in the room putting symbols on me. And I'm like, what is
Wow.
happening?
Oh,
Right? So
wow.
I knew, boom, in that moment, okay, this is possible. People don't, and you think about fossil fuels and all these things and gasoline burning and things. I want things to be virtual. We can do a lot more. We can have a lot more sessions.
Right.
So I meet with someone like this. And of course, we don't just like jump into things. We go through like mind, body, and soul.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
For the mind part of things, or like depending on where they want to focus, every session is personalized. I have like a module of things that I like to do and like different modalities and techniques, but every single person is different. Some people want to focus, like for example, I love working on other healers. I don't think that a lot of people have that capacity, and I do. So I love doing it. It's my passion. So if I'm working on another healer and let's say yoga isn't their thing or Reiki isn't their thing, but they're more into like body work, like they're a massage therapist, they might want to focus on the body first. And
Right.
that's cool, right? Because that's what they're used to and that's where they want to start their healing journey. Awesome. So if that's the case, all right, so we look at first from inside out healing, right? Let's talk about diet. Let's talk about what your daily, from the time you wake up, what does that look like? So once I get like a sense of what we're putting in, I know how we can use that energy. Like,
Right.
I'm not going to see someone who's like not eating enough and start them on a yoga protocol within my session, right? I'm going to
Right.
get their diet, like, make sure they're eating right, make sure their
Right.
B12 is in check, make sure like we're healthy,
Right. Right.
right? So
So
we have
how
to,
long does those sessions last? Are they like a certain weeks program, or is it
yeah,
just based on individual? Or how do
it
you?
is, it's both.
Okay.
So I prefer to work with someone at least a month, but
Mm,
let's say they're like, okay, I just want a one-off session with you.
mm,
Okay, I accept that as well if you just want to test it out or if you know you're already working on your stuff.
right.
Again, working on other healers, you have to make things accessible for people, right?
Yes,
Like whatever, if
absolutely.
they want to like just have a la carte kind of thing or a whole package.
Yeah.
Some. So that puts the pressure on me to then in 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, deliver something that is valuable, right? An experience of healing that is valuable.
Valuable. Absolutely.
Um, One of my gifts is that I get out of the way and that I can connect with someone's soul and the guidance that's there for them. And I call it like being a librarian. We're here in a library of your soul. All the books are about you, but you don't know how to read them. But I do. So now the process of our session is showing you how to read these books,
Mm,
right? So it's me saying, okay, intuitively, I'm feeling like there are certain yoga poses, and I try to keep it to like 3 to 5, just
okay.
very, very basic. But you can go into a whole yoga book and see 20 poses, and those might like that's a lot of work. But
Yeah.
if you have a soul healer that can look at your body and your soul and say, okay, intuitively, you probably need to work on your liver. I'm feeling stuff in your stomach and I'm feeling stuff in like your throat.
Hmm.
Awesome. And then specific asanas will come up for me that I can then guide someone, okay, we're going to need to do this one. Are you familiar with this? And if they're not, okay, not a problem. And then we'll get up and we'll start doing the poses and we're doing it. And I'll look and I'll say, okay, so you're just going to raise your left leg a little bit more, and align them. And I'll just check in with them all over the camera.
Right.
Um, and the best part I think about that process is that after they're done, well, while they're doing it, like there's no judgment. There's nobody in the room. Is a very personal thing. And they get to just grow very authentically and very transparently,
Mm,
right? Like as like almost like a kid. When
right.
we go to yoga classes, we're in adult mode. We're like, oh, what am I wearing? Who's gonna be there?
Yeah.
How much do we have to pay for this session? Like we're very adult mode.
Yeah.
But in my
It's
sessions,
more of like an exercise than
it
having
is.
like a peaceful yoga sessions.
Right.
I'm not a yoga person, but
And
I,
and
I
and I
can meditate,
and
but I
that's
cannot
okay.
do yoga.
And that's okay. And I think like part of what I wanted to do with my yoga teacher, like offering this, is to show people everyone could do yoga. Actually, one of my favorite things that I started doing, now my whole family does it with me because it's virtual, is laughter yoga. And laughter yoga, you don't realize your heart is it's a muscle and it
Yeah.
needs to work. And
Yeah.
so they say it's 10 minutes of laughter yoga is equivalent to 30 minutes on an exercise bike. So
Wow.
it's like jogging for the heart.
Yeah. Send me
And
the link.
I will. Oh, yes,
I'd
I
love
will.
I'd
Yes,
love to
yes.
join the laughter yoga. I can
Okay.
laugh.
Yes, it's
I,
free.
I'm pretty, I would say I'm a pretty jolly person. I like
And
laughing.
it's so much fun. And the lady who leads it, Dana, she is so gifted at just she's been teaching this for years. She has an art of like we're not laughing about anything at all. And the
Yeah.
body doesn't know the difference, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, like just making yoga accessible, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't, I think in the West here, like unfortunately, yoga has been transformed into things that we do with goats
Yeah.
and, things like that. And for me, it's really, it's deflected from the true purpose of yoga,
Yeah.
right? And it is to connect with your own sense of oneness and oneness to everyone
Yeah.
else, right?
It's like if you watch, I'm sure you've watched the movie um Eat, Love, Pray, and where
Uh-huh.
the guru says that laugh from your liver, smile and laugh from your
Ah,
liver,
yeah,
and then you vanish your
yeah.
problems. And so, every time you meditate, you just laugh from your liver. And
Mhm.
it's kind of that one sentence is kind of like stuck to my brain, and I'm
Yeah,
like, if you are smiling and if you're laughing, I feel like it's very important to come from your soul, from
yeah,
your heart, liver, whatever,
yeah.
rather than just, putting a smile. And
Right.
there was a one time I did a challenge. I don't know where it was, but a long time back, there was a challenge, a 10-day challenge that you have to wake up with a smile on your face, no matter what. And it sounds so easy because
It's not. It's
you
not.
would think
I'm
that
not a morning
how
person.
difficult can that be, just smiling when you wake up?
Right.
But it is. And from that challenge onwards, I've
Mm,
kind of kept the practice of when you wake up, you smile and wake up.
yeah,
And it
yeah,
just it's like a constant reminder to yourself that, like, smile and wake up. And because that just shifts the whole energy, the whole mood you were waking up to. And I absolutely love that. But I mean, like, you're the expert on it. I'm
yeah. And it really does work. Like I have seen. Okay, so we'll sit there for 45 minutes, and 3 days later, I'll be sitting in traffic, and I'm not as mad about certain things. Like I've noticed it's a resiliency tool,
yeah.
right? And so when you do laugh, you do bring up stuff from your liver and your kidneys. And like we store anger, we store grief, we store shame, we store all kinds of stuff in the physical body. So when you're laughing, you don't even realize you're releasing all this stuff. So
Yeah.
laughter yoga, I would say, if you haven't tried it for yourself,
Yeah, I would
grab a
definitely
friend,
love to do it.
go to a class, or the virtual, it's every Monday. um yeah, I got my brother into it now. He doesn't miss a class. He brought my mom into it last week, so I'm sitting there, I'm like, is that my family? That's my family. Okay, awesome. And they're like, hi Sam. I'm like, hi mom. But I love that because I don't have to, like, I've tried before to get people, it sells itself,
Yeah.
right? The benefits sell itself. And so that's when something really works, when you don't have to work hard to like just it people want to do it because
Want to
it's fun.
do it. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that we're laughing in my sessions, we're having fun. I take a gentle, joyful approach to healing. And so as a healer, my job is to bear that for you, right? So if
Right.
there is painful stuff, or if there are things that there's trauma, there's abuse, there's violence, there's all kinds of stuff that's heavier,
Yeah.
that's why they're coming to me, right? Like
Absolutely.
like we're not here to heal, from sunshine and roses. No, we're here to heal through our deepest, darkest stuff
That's right.
so that we can show up in the way that we want to. And
One.
so that's why I love working on other healers because I know that their intention, and I define a healer, let me just back up. I define a healer as anyone. You can be an artist, a teacher, a musician, a doctor, anyone with the intention to help others,
Hmm.
right? If it's to help others heal, if it's to help others grow, that to me, you're a healer. You have a soul of a healer, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what passion you put yourself in, you're going to use it to help, right? So
absolutely. Absolutely.
when you have that intention, you show up with that intention. It's almost like you become a magnet for crap. And I think a lot of us can feel that some days and
Yeah.
connect with that. Like, is this a crap storm that's just coming my way? Am I like, did
Yeah.
someone put on my poles? Like, what is happening? And it just feels like that dark cloud is like on your life,
Yeah.
and it's just like, so when you do this work and when you are trying to show up for others, the hardest thing is showing up for yourself.
That's so true. That is so true. And what would you I know we can sit here and talk
I
all
know.
day
Yes.
because this
Yes.
is like
Yes. Keep me on track.
my favorite subject as well. Um,
Absolutely.
but uh, starting to wrap up now, what is the one word of wisdom that you would like to share? And I love asking this question to everybody I've interviewed. And that is the one thing I like to wrap up with is like your word of wisdom as a professional healer, a yoga instructor, your journey. What is the one word of wisdom that you would like to give our viewers, our listeners, that comes from you? I'm interested to know that.
Authenticity.
Absolutely.
Um, and I say that because it doesn't matter if whatever you're going through, I've learned masks don't work. It's
Mhm.
better to show up in fully in your pain and let others hold space for you if they choose.
Yeah.
Because that actually gives other people permission to heal from their own pain. It might encourage someone, it might inspire someone. You don't know how that's going to ripple effect out.
Yeah.
So hiding that and putting on that smile, you're just faking
Yeah.
and encouraging other people to continue to fake, right? But showing up for yourself, you might feel better even,
Yeah.
right?
Being
Like
a
even
true
after
self.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Be
just
a true
getting it
self.
out, you
Yep,
know?
absolutely. That's so wonderful. That is absolutely a wonderful advice. And again, I thank you so much,
Thank
Sophia, for
you.
being here on my channel. And I truly
Absolutely.
value your time. And you do an excellent work on, healing people. So that's bravo. And thank you to our viewers for tuning in. And if you're interested in learning all about Sophia Sri Ramalal, did I say it correctly?
Yeah.
Then we'll put all her information below in the description, and you can check it out. You can contact her. We'll have all those information down below. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to our channel. We'll bring more inspiring women and, get to learn more about different industries. Until then, see you all. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.